Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. Suffice it to say, I am not in the best mood, but luckily for us today, we are going to start off the show calmly because we have our one and only Tamara Shealey here. Tamara, how are you doing?
Hey, Egberto, how are you? Thank you.
I am doing just fine. Let me get started with the program. Let me get started with you, and we can go through a few things before we get on to some of those other issues. Today's program, the title is Billionaires Running for President Are Not Self-Made. They are parasites. Repeating. Billionaires running for president are not self-made. They are parasites. I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally. Why are so many billionaires interested in the presidency? They want to protect their loot. Tamara Shealey talks women running for president, and then we talk about their loot. Americans should be tired of being played. Now we have a new billionaire ready to run to pull our chains again. Howard Schultz is thinking about running for president. The man who treated his employees with the democratic socialist ideals is now a bonafide, unfettered capitalist running on his past good doings. Of course, he has no desire to extend what he knew was good while he was CEO of Starbucks to the country at large. The question is, why? Billionaire status and the company you keep may have a lot to do with it. You know what happens when you get peer pressure? You realize, oh my God, I grew up in the projects. Now I'm a billionaire. Oh my God, I better start acting like one. But I step back. I digress. We start the program, however, with Tamara Shealey, my good friend from Georgia, our regular former Georgia state senatorial candidate and host of Tamara for Georgia. And if you guys who follow our stuff know that we make sure and keep some of what she's doing constantly in the forefront. We discuss women running for the presidency. Tamara Shealey, how are you doing, my dear friend?
I'm good, Egberto. You are like a ticking time bomb.
Actually, like I said,
this broadcast today.
Yeah, well, you're kind of because I have to try to keep it cool because you're here. Good. I'm going to keep it cool. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Egberto. I am doing just fine. Georgia is cold today, but we're trying to stay warm as best we can.
Well, I think you're going to do just fine staying warm. Earlier when we were doing our prep, I saw you out there with your little heavy duty clothing, and I'm like, where is this again? Is this the South? I thought this didn't happen in the South.
Yeah, it does. It gets relatively cold. It got down like in the teens and lower 20s last night. Something different here in Georgia, but politics is never. It's always hot with politics here in Georgia. I can tell you that.
I know, especially having you there and running things in Georgia. Anyway, I heard that our friend is going to be given the what you call the speech that they give after the president gives the State of the Union speech. Again, I heard that what's her name?
Abrams. Yep.
Stacey Abrams going to be given that. What do you think about that?
I I'm excited to see her give that speech. People are like, can she do it? Oh, absolutely. With her hands tied behind her back, walking backwards. Like, could she give that kind of speech? Absolutely. Is she prepared to give that kind of speech? Absolutely. So I'm very excited that we'll be well represented right here in the state of Georgia. When I saw that, it made me very excited, but I was a little like taken aback by it too. I was like, this is like, Barack Obama gave like this speech that moved the world, and then next thing you know, he's running for president. Like, I don't know what this speech is, but I'm excited to see her deliver.
I know, but I don't think she's going to run for president. I do think that she's probably going to run for Senate, Georgia Senate. So we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens.
I think she has presidential ambitions, Egberto. So I would not be surprised. We should put a weight on it. I would not be surprised if she actually said, "Yep, I'm gonna take this leap, and I'm gonna run for president." I'm telling you, I think that she would be a contender. I can tell you, she'd give that Donald Trump a run for his money.
I like her platform. I just kind of think that she is a bit more serious than the country is looking for. I think she has too much substance to be. I mean, I hate to sound like that, but I just think she is too substantive to run for president. Donald Trump cheapened the presidency so much that it is like the people outside the presidency are the ones that matter, not necessarily the president. But hey, I could be wrong.
You know what? I'm looking forward to hearing her announce she is going to run for something. So I'm looking forward to seeing where she decides to land. But if she runs for the presidency, I think I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to pay me $100, Egberto.
Okay, so our bet is on national network, all over the place. The bet is on. Will she do it or won't she do it? So we're on with that one. Anyway, tell me about one of the things we're going to talk about today is women running for the presidency. What are your thoughts?
I think it's time. I think we are at a place in history and at a place in this country where I think women need to be in the forefront, and we need to lead. And we don't need to ask for permission. We just need to get out there and run and do our thing. And I think you men folks will appreciate having a woman leader that can rein y'all in sometimes.
Well, you know what's interesting? I don't need any convincing of that at all. I've been pushing that issue for a long time now. I mean, for all of those who've been listening to me, I've been except for my little detour with Bernie Sanders, I've been trying to say, look, testosterone has not done a good job so far in running the country. So why not change and why not try something else? And the truth of the matter is, I think that is where the action really is with women. And that I'm not saying because I have a woman guest on the show. I'm just saying that because I'm surrounded by in all the activism that I'm doing. I can with us winning Harris County, the entire Harris County, what I saw are women really doing the work. It's almost like the church, Tamara. In the church, women just about run the church, but just because somebody has a penis, it says, "Oh, well, we are the boss," So I mean, I like the idea that women would. I don't want to say come into their right because that kind of makes me look a little bit facetious, but just come and take the whole damn thing over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to see us take over. I think we do need a balance of testosterone and estrogen. I don't think we need all women, because I'm telling you, I know sometimes we can be a little catty. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see a whole bunch of women, but I do.
I'm not going to say that because I don't think if you understand how catty men are. I'm on the board of a radio station right now, and most of the cattiness that I see is among men. So,
wow. Well, I like having men around. I like there being like a balance of ideas. I like ethnicity. I like culture.
Well, that's true.
Gumbo, like just throw everything in and let's just mix it all up and see what we get.
I am with you there. But folks, please do remember this is going to be a call-in show later on at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Actually, if anybody happened to call during the first segment, that would be fine as well. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, so what do you think? Name me the women that you think are really contenders in this cycle.
Stacey Abrams. Okay, I'll put her there first, and then Elizabeth Warren. I followed her with my time with Netroots and being involved with activism with you guys. So I followed her. So I like what she has to say. I appreciate her platform. Kamala Harris. I'm gonna just tell you, I've been watching some of the comments online, and everybody's not convinced, and I'm not necessarily convinced either. And I don't want to vote for her just because she's Black. I don't think that is enough of a reason for me or most of the people that I'm reading online. They need more than that. We're not. That's not
interesting enough. Now that you said that, right? It turns out that we just had a discussion about identity politics today, and what I try to point out is that this thing about because a candidate is Black, all the Black folks going to vote for them, or if a candidate is Latino, all the Latinos are going to vote for him. It's really not borne out by facts, and so we had a long discussion on set-aside districts and all those kinds of things and whether they work. And I'm of the contention that no, you ran in 40, you weren't a set-aside district, and you almost won it, didn't you?
Yeah, so just because Kamala is a brown woman, that doesn't give her an automatic vote for me. And a lot of people, I'm telling you, I've been reading a lot of comments, and a lot of people, they're not convinced yet. And
she has some issues. I mean, both as an attorney general in California, where she really was pretty darn tough on people that she shouldn't have been on. And now she's going to sing the progressive tunes, So we'll see. I think she's overcompensating right now with her support for Medicare for All to try to garner some progressive bona fides. But I don't know how long that's going to work. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think I heard on talk radio today, they were talking about that was her job. The reason she was tough was because that she was doing her job. And I don't know if I appreciate that spin, but maybe somebody.
No, not after you have the district attorney who won in Baltimore, who is really he's really going hard on all the bad deeds that they did on minority the folks that they arrest and how the cops work with those. I mean, they've done a whole lot about that. So no, I'm not. You're right. I'm not buying into any of that. I'm not buying into any of that at all. So what's up then? Are we going to win? Or are we going to? I mean, these women. What are your thoughts? Are they going to be? We have a lot of men going into the fold as well. Are they going to be able to distinguish themselves out of there and just make themselves the thing?
I believe so, Egbert. So I'm very excited about having as many women candidates on the ballot as I'm starting to see, come out. I think women are gonna be we're gonna take it this time, Egberto. We're gonna take it.
Now there's an issue right now, and I'm going to kind of bring up the specific issue on some of these individual women and ask for your thoughts on it. When it comes to Elizabeth Warren, the whole issue about Pocahontas and her having native blood and all that sort of stuff, some people have a tendency to say that because she went for a DNA test that said she had very small percentage of native blood, that somehow that was a gaffe on her part. And I tend to believe that is a gaffe on the media's part, who they're trying to find something to ding her on. And I think the idea is they're trying to create a narrative for Americans to try to tell Americans how to think. They should think badly of her taking that DNA test. Truth of the matter is, I haven't. What about,
I wish she wouldn't have taken that test. I think
Why is that? I'm curious. Why is that?
I wish that because I felt like she didn't have anything to prove. She said what she was, and I didn't think she needed to go any further with trying to prove that to anybody. I think that she fell prey to the media and anybody,
right.
any persons that pushed her to do that. I just didn't think it was a good idea. She didn't have to prove that. She said it, and that was good enough.
Now, should Obama had never had given his birth certificate even after, because, he came out and finally went ahead and gave them the original as well. Should he have not done that as well? And it still
wasn't enough. Like, they still think it's like, oh, it's still not,
Right.
It's still it's like damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So why the hell even give into it?
Right. Now, when it comes to Kamala Harris, and yeah, we know she was district attorney or whatever, but one of the things on her is that she is, unlike Elizabeth Warren, who claims she won't take any corporate money, won't take any Wall Street money. One of the first things it is understood that Kamala did is check Wall Street to see if she was going to have funding. Does that affect her progressive bona fides?
I think so. I think if you're truly going to be a progressive, I think you really need to, not just talk the talk. You need to walk the walk. And I think that people are going to do a side look at her, like, and I think that's going to be a ding against her. Yeah.
Now, Amy Klobuchar, is she too boring? You see, notice I'm trying to put a current negative on each of the people to see, because I mean there are these women. Klobuchar, is she too negative? I mean, too boring to run?
Let me tell you that she is like somebody that I know the name, but it's nothing about her candidacy that says go find out who she is. I haven't even I didn't even have the desire to it was nothing about her that said, "Ooh, I want to know who she is."
Mm-hmm.
So
that's not a good thing. Although I really like her, I really like her. I like the way she carries herself. But yeah, she's pretty darn, she's not flashy like Kamala, or definitely not a Elizabeth Warren. Now, Christine Gillibrand, New York, ex-conservative Democrat, now professing her progressive nature. Can you start as a conservative and suddenly become a progressive when you decide to run for president of the United States?
Well, I don't think so. I think that you have a track record, and I think the American people are not stupid. Like, we're going to look back at who were you, who are you, where'd you come from, what did you do? Like, no, I don't think that you can just jump from one side of the track to the other and say, this is the lane I'm going to travel in. No.
Well, I think that is her intent right now. She's I mean, for all the things that she said about gays and all the rest, she's kind of taking it back now. And talking about that, there's a congresswoman from Hawaii running for president, Kelsey Gill. What's her name? Let me see if I can.
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but I do know who you're talking about. And it's like I said, I've been looking at the top of the ticket versus these people that are just coming in.
Right.
It's just too many of them, and I think we're going to be bombarded with all these candidates. I think I read somewhere it was like hundreds of candidates.
I think it's going to be the legitimate ones. I think we have between 30 and 40, and the woman I was talking about is Tulsi Gabbard. Anyway, so I mean, she is also trying to reclaim her. Although she was a Bernie supporter, but now she's trying to reclaim her progressive bona fides by saying, she apologizes for the things that she had to say before on gays. Should she be forgiven? I think she should. But I mean, and the reason I said I think she should is I'm originally from Panama. I'm black, I'm Latino, I'm Caribbean, and that is like the three strikes for how you feel for in the old days for the gay lifestyle. And I 100% convert. In fact, now I'm a gay activist as well. So I mean, the thing about it is, should she be forgiven? Hell, if I'm asking people to forgive my way of being 25 or 30 years ago, I guess I better do the same, right?
I believe in forgiveness. I think, I totally believe in forgiving and moving past it. I'm there. I'm very interested in that person behind you, though. I know that wasn't part of our conversation, but I cannot wait for you to get started.
I am going to get started after you go. You have about 4 more minutes, so I want to ask you something special. Why don't you tell me how you felt about Schultz? Because from our pre-talk, you kind of liked what he said, and I said that I completely disliked what he said. So what I'd like to use you for right now, and I hope you don't mind, as a guinea pig for why I am so scared of, not scared, but why I'm so concerned with this guy, because an experienced politician like yourself actually could see some good in what he's doing. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts there.
Well, and it was very surface. I was actually driving today. I've been out, and I listened to talk radio. I don't listen to a whole lot of music. So I was listening to talk radio, and they were talking about him. And just hearing that he wants to more or less run as an independent, but more so, I got the impression from what I was hearing that he wanted to align himself with both sides and take from both parties what he could use in his candidacy and his presidency, and he didn't want to play party politics, and that's the gist of what I got, and that was honestly enough for me, because I can just tell you as a Democrat, quote unquote, I can tell you that it's hard. It's hard. I don't toe the party line. There's a lot of every Republican is not bad. Every Republican idea is not bad, and I'm very interested in both sides of politics. I'm interested in what Democrats are doing. I'm interested in what Republicans are doing, and I like the messaging of being an independent. I'm very intrigued by that. I'm very, very, very intrigued by that messaging, because a lot of people don't want to be identified with either party. They want to be able to kind of make decisions based on what's best for them, and they don't want to be boxed in. So I'm very interested in his candidacy, and I know that you're going to blow me up, but I heard it from the surface, and I think a lot of people, when they hear it on the surface, will probably feel the same way. We don't have enough information about him right now to say yay or nay, but it was intriguing what I did hear.
And and because of what you told me, that is my biggest fear, because that is how it's going to go over with most people. The vast majority of Americans, I think, are going to look at it like that. Now, party Democrats will see him as a threat, but people like yourself who really want things to work correctly, people like yourself who want things to move, people like yourself who really, really want positive moves. The initial message from Howard Schultz is just that, Tamara. So I am going to really hit him hard after I'm done with you. But but the thing about it is the following. I respect all of those who want what he seems to be looking for. But some of the issues, that the way he puts it, I think it's a danger in what he's doing, especially as a billionaire. And that is where I want to go. So I think it is important for folks like you to come out and say exactly what you just said, because it is that when all Americans see that, yes, this is the change that we want, they then can say, okay, after listening to folks like the nonpartisan portion of the speech, because my stuff for not wanting him is nonpartisan. Okay? For not wanting him, it's nonpartisan. But a lot of folks are not going to look at that deeper part that I want to explore with the audience. So that is what I'm talking about. So before closing, I want to remind everybody about Tamara's show, Tamara for Georgia. She gives me a little 5 or 10 minute spot on her show every so often to talk a little national something, but she has a wonderful show with some great folks on that show talking Georgia politics and every so often national politics. So before you go, Tamara, why don't you tell people how they can reach your show, how they can reach what you're doing? Tamara is one great activist out there in Georgia.
Awesome. Thank you, Egberto. So yes, we are on Facebook every Friday at 11 a.m. Tamara for Georgia on Facebook. I have two great co-hosts, Ms. Robbie Caban, a Latina woman who is all things Atlanta. She talks Atlanta politics and gives us all the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have another co-host, Mr. David Slavin, who talks about acknowledging the divide, where we talk about race, racism, and race relations. And I give you an update on all the legislation that's happening right here in Georgia under the Gold Dome. So we're staying abreast of politics and policy right here in the state of Georgia. And Egberto, I want to thank you for always giving me an opportunity every couple of weeks to come on and share with your listening audience, and keeping our perspective, keeping an open perspective right here on Politics Done Right.
Well, I mean, that is, like I tell all progressives, we have to continue to work together. We have to continue to do all these things together, because this is how we are going to make a difference. And Tamara Shealey, she's proved her bonafides out there in Georgia. Like I've said, from the time I met her, I've been impressed with the work she's doing. So keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you so kindly for being here. I'll see you on Thursday on Tamara for Georgia, and you have a wonderful rest of the day, my friend.
Thank you. I'll be listening.
All right. You take care now. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, listen to me now, my dear brothers and my dear sisters. I want to talk to you about that man behind me. That is somebody that I actually respected for a very long time. That is actually a man that I thought encompassed within what he did for his people, his employees, a lot of employees. He saw the need for health care. He saw the need for education. This man did what was right when it was right, when corporations were not doing what was right. To which I ask now, what happened? What happened to this man? And I mean that dearly. What happened to this man? Look, I think what I better start with is I better start with you know what. And it goes this way.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Here's my blog post today. I could not be more upset of self-made billionaires, specifically Howard Schultz from Starbucks. He is entering into the political fray with misconceptions and misinformation, given the goodwill many have had of him because he treated his employees better than most. It could be dangerous. Those of you who listened to the segment before where we had former state senatorial candidate of Georgia, Tamara Shealey, on, she liked what she heard. Most Americans who are not partisans would love what they heard. And that's what makes him dangerous. Schultz believes the Democratic Party has gone too far left because they want Medicare for all and pay it forward college education and more progressive policies Americans want. This morning I wrote the piece, Centrists Have Nothing to Offer the Poor and Dwindling Middle Class, stating the following. When Schultz disparaged Medicare for all as if it was some extreme idea, he disparaged every industrialized country we are allied with whose citizens are healthier than us on average. When he demeans pay it forward tuition, he demeans America, insinuating that while countries from Germany to Brazil to Trinidad and Tobago can educate their own, we are impotent and incapable of ensuring extended education for all our citizens. That's what he's insinuating. Then I received two subsequent emails from Tim Donaghy, a member of my coffee party cohort. This is what he said. Mussolini only had 22% base in Italy. However, the opposing 78% was divided among a half dozen political movements. He appeared more powerful than he really was, so King Leopoldo of Italy appointed Mussolini to be administrative head of the nation. From there, it was easy to sideline the king and take power. Schultz's candidacy divides our nation and further empowers Trump's 35% base. If Schultz wants to run for president, he should do it within the Democratic or Republican Party. To effectively change the system is our beautifully designed country. Do it from within the system in a dictatorship run as an outsider. Just saying, that is from Tim Donaghy. It was clear he had more to say. So after getting that email, bing, I got another email from Tim. And Tim started to rant again. The Howard Schultz corporate candidacy has me riled, he said. Schultz says we can't afford to have Medicare for all because the country is $21 trillion in debt and socialized medicine is too expensive. Wrong. In 2017, the United States spent 17% of its $19.4 trillion GDP on health care. That's $3.3 trillion. In 2017, the OECD countries, developed countries, spent on average 10.5% of their GDP on healthcare. They achieve better outcomes, higher quality on average than us, the United States. If the United States spent 10.5% on healthcare and achieve higher outcomes, we would have to spend $2 trillion on healthcare. So, if the United States had socialized healthcare like the others, we would save $1.3 trillion per year. That's an average savings of $3,940 for every man, woman, and child in the United States per year. In other words, $15,750 saved for every family of 4. That's $1,313 per month per family, or $328 per month per person saved. Those are real numbers. That's another mortgage somebody could be paying instead of paying our healthcare costs. Bernie Sanders was asked during the 2016 election how we were going to pay for this. He couldn't say raise taxes because it would have doomed his candidacy. He should have said continue paying your insurance company but pay them less. We could have given the insurance companies a markup to administer the system. This can work. Howard Schultz, stop misleading us. It can work. Thanks for letting me have these 5 minutes. Yours truly, Terrible Tim. Tim is neither terrible nor was it a burden to have his 5 minutes, actually less than 5 minutes. But I want to go a little bit further. Yes, Bernie Sanders was scared to say we'd have to raise taxes. And I'm not done with the blog of the week, but I want to say something here. We have to start getting bold about saying we have to raise taxes. There are not two ways about it. We have to raise taxes if we really want to have a system that works for everybody. We have to raise taxes. But here's a kicker, folks. Raising taxes does not mean you're going to have less money in your pocket because you're not paying healthcare premiums anymore. But I'm going to finish the blog of the week, then I'll go ahead and show the disingenuousness of Howard Schultz in what he's marketing. Anyhow, Tim is absolutely correct. The problem we have is a derelict media. They allow billionaires, the plutocracy, to misinform and lie to us on a regular basis. It is imperative that we use other techniques to get to the voters so that they stop voting against their interests. They must understand that most of the seemingly benevolent, self-made billionaires forgot what it is like to be middle-class Americans. We must remind them by all means necessary. As billionaires like Schultz continue to campaign on the pretense that they are self-made, we must use the opportunity to point out that all billionaires accumulated capital on the backs of others. We must make their false strength the weakness that it is. There is no self-made billionaire. Every billionaire on this planet is a parasite. I repeat, every billionaire on this planet is a parasite. What is a parasite? A parasite is something sucking the blood, sucking the energy, sucking the food, the excess food, and sometimes not even the excess food, out of another body without working for it. It is okay to accumulate a few $1 million based on your effort over the average working person. But by the time you start to accumulate billions and billions and billions and billions, you are sucking the life out of an economy. You are sucking the life out of people, whether you like it or not. Do you think a parasite knows that it's bad? Do you think a parasite knows that it's evil? No, it does not. A parasite is just existing. A parasite exists. That was its social and biological order. That is what it was designed to do. A billionaire, our economy sets billionaires up. It sets itself up to allow the creation of billionaires, and it feeds on itself. Before I forget, telephone number is 646-716-5812. Again, the number is 646-716-5812. If anyone wants to call and dispute, debate, discuss this particular issue, I would be more than happy to talk about this in more detail and answer any particular question. But let's go ahead now and talk specifically. Let's talk specifically what he had to say today on Morning Joe, because it is so dangerous. Mr. Schultz goes on Morning Joe and he said, they asked him specifically, why don't you run in the Democratic Party so that you don't bastardize the election pool? And if within the Democratic Party, because you're a pretty progressive guy, supposedly, in the Democratic Party, the person that most represents what Americans want will actually win. So if Americans really want what you have to offer, then you will win. He claimed he doesn't want to do it because both parties are just bad. They are no good. They're over. And he said, look, the Democratic Party has turned into a left-wing party. The Democratic Party wants Medicare for all. Please, Mr. Schultz, don't you want Medicare for all? He said he believes that Medicare, that healthcare is a right for every human being. And you know what? Deep down inside, I believe that he believes that. That's why when he ran Starbucks, he made sure that all his employees, including part-time employees, could have healthcare. He was a good guy. Mr. Howard Schultz was a good guy. I had Mr. Howard Schultz in very high regards. Why? I went and paid for his overpriced coffee because he was a good guy. Why? Because he took care of his people. That is the reason I supported him. But when he got into the billionaire class, it is clear that something happened. It is clear that he's fighting what they want and fighting what he knows is right. So he says, Medicare for all is going to be too expensive. But he knows math. The fact of the matter is simple. If you have a system that is not taking care of all the people right now, that costs more than any other country on the planet, and you do the numbers and you remove all the expenses out of that system, meaning there are no more executives, there are no more advertising costs, there are no more duplicate databases, there are no more people in the healthcare offices that are continuously that you have to pay to call different insurance companies. All these inefficiencies are removed from the system. It is definitely cheaper. Even the study done by a Koch brothers consortium found that insuring all the people in America would cost less than we're doing now, which is still leaving 30 to 50 million people without insurance. People, to listen to Howard Schultz and all the billionaires say that Medicare for all would be too expensive, is saying two things. One, America can't take care of its own because it's too expensive, so we are okay with letting people die. Because if you're saying you can't afford it, if you are saying you cannot afford health care for all, it says that you are willing to let the sick in your country die. That's what it says. There are no two ways about that statement, my friends. If insuring all the people in your country is unaffordable, then you're saying we want people who get sick to die. And when that congressman went on the floor of the House and said, Republicans want one thing. If you get sick, they want you to die. There is more truth to that for anybody who says Medicare for all is too expensive. It is not. He then talks about the dislocation that would occur, all these people that would lose jobs. We don't keep a healthcare system because people would lose jobs. But H.R. 676 actually takes care of the people who would lose jobs in the insurance business, in the healthcare business, because it becomes more efficient. It is there to take, we take all of that into account in H.R. 676. So, Schultz talking about having healthcare for all being too expensive, he knows it's a lie. He has to know it's a lie. He knows math. They all know math. Medicare for all cannot be more expensive than the system we have today because it does not have all the relevant cost of the system today. And every industrialized country in the world knows that. Private healthcare insurance and private healthcare by design is more expensive. The reason they don't want that is a lot of the billionaires on the planet, that's one of the way they make some easy money. Remember I said they're parasites. Billionaires, parasites. Billionaires, parasites. Why are they parasites? They are making money off of your sickness. They're skimming money off of your premiums. That is a parasite. There are no two ways about it. That is a parasite. Let's get that. We have to take the shrouds off of thinking these billionaires are great people that somehow earned what they have. They did not. They are parasites. Now, the second issue he came about talking is the Democrats are doing crazy things. They want to give free education. No, it's not free education. It's education we all pay for to make sure that people get paid. Hello, all from. Let me just send a message here to my folks on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. How are you doing? Look, folks. It is important for us to understand. It is important for us to take the shroud off, thinking that somehow billionaires are somehow good people, or somehow deserving, or somehow have a cut above you. No, what they are able to is extract more from you than others would. Okay? The fact of the matter is, when he says we cannot afford free education, guess what? We used to. Education, college education, university education, at one time used to be virtually free. When I came to the United States in 1979, in-state tuition at the University of Texas was $4 per semester hour. $4. For foreigners, it was 10 times that amount, $40 a semester hour. That's what it used to be. Of course, now, because we constantly cut taxes so that we can create more billionaires, so that businesses can be more profitable, and that profit not shared with its employees, that profit goes straight up to the top, to the billionaires. That's why you have a lot more billionaires now, because we no longer take care of the average person. And then we have them crying when they talk about, oh, we can't afford Medicare for all because it means our taxes would be raised. Let me give you a kicker, folks, about taxes, okay? Let me give you a kicker about taxes. As it turned out, let me give you a kicker about taxes. As it turns out, Donald Trump told all Americans, we are not going to raise your taxes. In fact, you're going to get a tax break. And yes, he lowered the marginal tax rate on many, until they found out that the things that they used to be deducting, the electrician who could deduct his tools, the person who worked from home part-time can no longer deduct those charges for that office. When people start to find out that in order to give your money away to the billionaires and the multimillionaires, they took away all your deductions, the sales taxes that you could take, gone. The income taxes that you could take in states that had high income taxes, curtailed. Why? So therefore, states that have income taxes that take care of their people generally are states that are paying more into the government that they're taking out. Now these welfare states are asking them to take even more. My brothers and my sister. Hello, Lee Grant. Hello, Rene Perpetua. Hello, Mike Cisak. Hello, let's see, who else? Remstream. Hello, all the folks that are here. David Scott, welcome aboard. Let's see, Rene Perpetua, Periscope, all you, Matthew Tiemann, thank you so kindly for being here. Folks, what I need you to do, folks, is forget about everything that these billionaires are telling you. They are running for election now. They're running now because of one important issue. They realize that Americans are waking up. They realize that when Elizabeth Warren says, you know what? You know why they... Let me give you another kicker, folks. You know why these rich people say there are not enough rich people to tax their income so that it will make a difference? They're true. They're telling the truth. They're telling the truth because they're smart. No longer are they collecting their monies like income. They're collecting their money like capital gains as they keep their fortunes. So Elizabeth Warren saw the racket. Elizabeth Warren says, okay, what we're taxing now is we're going to tax 1 or 2% of your net worth, of that money, of those over $50 million, that is. In other words, your first $50 million, and who needs $50 million? But your first $50 million is safe. We won't touch it. You will always have that $50 million. But anything over $50 million, as you continue to hoard capital, as you continue to take capital away from everybody, because remember, that capital is not really yours. That is the excess labor. That is the excess work. That is the excess intellect from everybody. You are accumulating that. You say, oh, well, that's a profit I made. No, that's a profit your employees made. No, that is a profit the employees of the company whose shares you own made. You didn't make that. You are just accumulating that. We have an economy that does not know how to give away worth appropriately. We have an economy that allows those with capital to steal. We have an economy that allows those with capital to be the masters of the universe. And Elizabeth Warren is saying one thing. We are going to change that. We are going to tax it where it really counts. We are going to tax wealth. And then people say, oh, we've never done that in the United States. How can we tax wealth? That's a lie. But you know, the wealth, they don't want you to tax that kind of wealth, the billionaire type of wealth. But they don't mind saying, well, property tax. Guess what a property tax is? A property tax is a wealth tax. You have a house that's $200,000, and every year you pay a certain percentage of that, and it's not 2%, a certain percentage of that you pay. That's a wealth tax because it's on capital, your house. But you see, everybody has a house, right? So the billionaires don't mind that. What they don't want you to touch is a capital that they can hide. They don't want you to touch a capital they can hide overseas. They don't want you to touch a capital that they have in stocks. But it's no different than you having to pay a property tax on your home every single year. But you see, that hits the middle class. They don't mind hitting the middle class. And since their home is such a small part of their value, their vast wealth is in all the other things. And again, don't feel guilty going after it because their wealth is your work. Their wealth is your worth. They are parasites. We have learned, we have been indoctrinated into believing that these guys have some superb worth, that accumulating that amount of money means they're great. Schultz went on TV and said, but wait a minute, I grew up poor. I grew up in the projects. And now I'm rich. I worked for it. Look, Schultz, you did a good thing. You worked hard, Schultz. Not only did you work hard, but when you made it, you made sure that your employees had health insurance. You made sure that your employees got an education. You did very well, sir. You did very well. Why will you destroy your name? Why will you destroy your goodwill? By forgetting the democratic social values you had. Why do that? David Scott, thank you so kindly for having been here, my friend. Thank you so kindly. Look, why destroy your name? Why destroy all the good things done? Why do that? Because the rest of the billionaires, that's how they feel. No heart. No worth, no values, no morals. Think about that, my friends. Anybody wants to call in 646-716-5812. Again, that is 646-716-5812. Folks, my goal, one of my goals. Okay, I tell you what I'll do. I'll start reading some of the comments. But before I get to the comments, I want to make the plug. Folks, this is Politics Done Right, and I'd like to ask you so kindly to be a supporter of the show. Please go to patreon.com/Politics Done Right. Again, that is patreon.com/Politics Done Right. And please become a subscriber. We have a lot of work to do. As you can see, there are very many posers are coming out there. Good people are turning into bad people. People that had morals are losing their morality. Donald Trump has made so much vogue. When a Schultz Schultz thinks that Medicare for all is a bad left-wing thing, when Schultz believes that education is a left-wing thing, when for his own company he did that for his employees, shows you where we've gone, where he's gone. A person that was once a good man, a person that once had values. And for me, it's not about him running as an independent. If Schultz had come out there and ran as an independent and said, I am for Medicare for all because every American should be able, like in every industrialized country, have health care, and we are going to find a way to get it done correctly outside the private sector, which does not belong in health care. And at the same time, I want to make sure that every person can go to college, become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a trade, or whatever, without being in so much debt that it destroys the economy. But the Democrats have failed to do that. The Republicans have failed to do that. I, Howard Schultz, who pretty much started that path in my company, decide to run as an independent to get this done. I would have been on his bandwagon yesterday. I would have been there with him. I would have said, you know what? The establishment Democratic Party doesn't really want to do the right thing. The establishment Republican Party doesn't want to do the right thing. They're the left rail and the right rail going into the same rightward direction. Yes, Howard Schultz, I could support you. In fact, there are many times I would go to Starbucks and I would be talking to the baristas and I would say, you know what? I really love your guy. I really love your guy. Your guy gives you guys what is, those are the values we stand for. But now he's more dangerous than Trump. Because as a replacement for Trump, that what people are looking for, he looks good. We have to mitigate that, friends. Please, folks, if you're just joining us, please go to patreon.com, patreon.com/politics done right. Again, that is patreon.com/politics done right. Folks, I know I am a little bit excited on this particular issue, but my friend, the mere fact how she sees a good rationale for an independent person running who is going to make a difference. But Howard Schultz, with what he supports, with what he's talking about, it's clear the billionaires in his class has gotten to him. And it's not only Howard Schultz. I listened to the former CEO of BET speak on CNBC. There's something corrupting when they get into the billionaire class. I think they've realized that when folks realize that they are parasites, that they are living off of the well-being of others. They're living off of the work, the sweat, the tears, the intellect off of others is what made them billionaires. That they know the only way to keep that is to keep misinforming, lying, and doing all those things, and making sure that we don't pass policies that just may cost them. Folks, we have to get busy with the program. Let me go ahead and start answering some questions down here. Or let's say Renee. All right, let's see if I can start. Matthew Gillibrand, we tend to vilify politicians for changing their views. I don't. I think people should be given the opportunity to change their views just like I changed my view. David Scott, great show. Why would I vote for someone who sells a $5 cup of coffee? I didn't mind paying $5 a cup of coffee if he was treating his employees right, which he did, and that's the reason I spend so much money at Starbucks, because of the good that he has done there. Rene Perpetua, Tamara is on the ball. Keep up the good work. Let's see, Schultz is running as an independent to split the party votes and grab campaign money. I also think he's doing that because, put it this way, if Donald Trump stays into power, they don't care because they know that the billionaires will not have to pay any more taxes or give up any of that money. So they don't care. He wants to either win or have Donald Trump win because he doesn't want anybody that's going to somehow charge him 2% on his nest egg. Okay, let's see. They forget the social construct and become full of themselves. That is so true, Rene Perpetua. He linked Forbes. Okay, let's see. Rene Cizak. Rene, if you increase the demand without increasing supply, what happens to prices? They go up. Government pushed insurance onto everyone, which increased demands. Prices went up because, you see, that is so, Mike Cizak, that is so that framing of your words is so dangerous, because what you do, you're treating healthcare as supply demand. You're treating health, somebody dying, somebody having a disease, somebody having a cold, as just in that supply and demand mantra. You don't look at healthcare in that mode. You look at healthcare as something that you must solve, that you have to solve. Period. There are no two ways about it. You have to solve healthcare. Rene Perpetua, insurance is the parasite. Rene, you're absolutely right about that. Let's see. Lee Grant, hello to chat. Let's see. Rene Perpetua, yes, take the shrouds off. We should take the shroud off. The profit goes to 1%. Look here. These guys are growing their nest egg between 5 to 7% every year. Taking 1%, the truth of the matter is, if I were Elizabeth Warren, I would be taking 90% of the growth of any asset they have. In other words, the delta growth of any asset they have over $50 million, we take 90% of that, because it is passive income. They're sitting on their butts doing absolutely nothing. And people say, well, what happened if they lose some money? You can write off what you lose, okay? You can write off what you lose. But as far as what you've gained from doing nothing, 90% of that, period, off the top. Okay, let's continue. Medicare administrative costs are $509 per primary beneficiary compared to that is a bunch of hogwash, Mr. CSAC. Complete hogwash. On that number that you're talking about, the 509, they don't include a lot of the costs that I've repeated before. You're asking folks to deny math. You're asking people to deny math to put those numbers out there and think they're somehow serious. Egberto, obviously, you're clueless about the federal government and what is in the U.S. Constitution. I've read the entire Constitution. I understand it very well. I am not a constitutionalist or believe that the Constitution is the act of God. I really don't give a damn, to tell you the truth, about whether about the Constitution, because it used to consider somebody like myself 3/5 of a man. Why should I think about the sanctity of a document that considered me 3/5 of a man? Why should I look at the sanctity of a document that once prevented women to vote? Why should I look at the sanctity of a government that said natives weren't citizens of the country, they were always here? Why should I? So please, never ever on Politics Done Right use the Constitution as some moral document that we need to follow. Never do that on Politics Done Right, because the Constitution isn't our best friend. Okay, Mike C said we should repeal the income tax. No, we should not. We should increase the income tax on those people making a hell of a lot of money, those people who definitely do not deserve the income that they have. Folks, we're getting close to the end of the show. I want you guys to listen to Schultz with open eyes and open minds. I think what you will find is the danger in his statements. I think also what you'll find is the reason why guys like him run, because America is getting more intelligent. That is why Medicare for All has increased in popularity. Now, people say, but when you tell them that it's going to increase taxes, the popularity drop. Yes, it drops, because they lie to them about increase in taxes as opposed to decreased total costs. What we have to do, those of us who want to be moral and honest, we have to tell our brothers and sisters the truth. Your out-of-pocket costs for healthcare when you're done will be zero, because now taxes that you're going to pay for healthcare, instead of going to an insurance company who then charges you a 20% copay, who also charges you $5,000 deductible, who then charges you a little something for every, that is over. You have more money in your pocket, and who pays for this? All the people that have pilfered us. Rene Perpetua, thank you for being here. All the people that have pilfered us for decades are going to help pay for it. We will all have skin in the game, but we have to take away what was stolen from the American people. We must start the process of doing it in a logical, methodical manner. The wealth of the wealthy was legally stolen from laws they passed to benefit themselves. At the same time, hurting the average American citizen. If you take a look at the new tax law that got passed, that is exactly what happened. Look at your deductions, people. When you fill out your taxes this year, take note of all the deductions you would have lost that would have reduced your taxes, and check out where that money is going. To the wealthy, to the folks like Howard Schultz, to the folks like Bill Gates, to the folks like all these, to the Koch brothers, to the Idle Sons. That is where your money is going. We have to take control back. Folks, please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. The only way we are going to right this ship, the only way we are going to be able to get this message out is for us to be able to get this message out. And the only way we can get this message out, brothers and sisters, is for us to support the movement. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. My name is Egberto Willies. Thank you so kindly for listening to the show. Please share the show. Please make sure other people see the show. It is so, so, so important, my brothers and sisters, that we get this work done, because we're going all to be indentured servants. We're going towards indentured servitude if we don't get this done. Let's get it done. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.